Hello, my dear students. Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Geeta Bansal from Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today, we're going to talk on the module Leadership, its nature, its importance, and the various styles of leadership from the paper Organizational Behavior. After going through the lesson, you should be able to define the meaning of leadership. You should be able to understand the nature and characteristics of an effective leadership. Of course, you'll be able to appreciate the importance and the role of an effective leadership in the growth and success of an organization. You'll be able to delineate some of the most commonly applied styles of leadership in today's organizations. Before we proceed, it would be important for us to understand who is a leader. Well, a leader is the one who is responsible for creating and sustaining not only good but great organizations. I'm sure you're reminded of some great leaders in the corporate world who have turned the fortunes of their organizations by their sheer futuristic vision to make this world a better place for our future generations by their business acumen and ingenuity. To name a few, we have Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook to start with, followed by Bill Gates of Microsoft. We have Warren Buffett of Berkshire Hathaway. We have Jack Welch of General Motors. And of course, we have Lee Iacocca of Chrysler. You must have heard about Steve Jobs of Apple. Looking around closer home, we have leaders and visionaries like J.R.D. Tata. We have Ratan Tata. We have Dhirubhai Ambani. We have Mukesh and Anil Ambani of Reliance. We have Azim Premji of Wipro. We have Indra Nooyi of PepsiCo. Narayan Murthy of Infosys. Well, the list can be endless. Well, my dear students, what do you think it takes to be a good leader? Well, a good leader is the one who is responsible for running the show. And let me tell you that according to Jim Collins, it takes approximately 7 years for an organization to graduate from a good organization to a great organization. Now, there are 3 leadership qualities that have been outlined that matters and which makes leaders. 1, they have a clear sense of direction for the business and an ability to communicate it. Second, they have a knack for motivating people. And 3, they have a substantial measure of adaptability. We are not talking of leaders at a national or a regional level. We are talking of leaders with a global vision. You have heard about Nelson Mandela, about Yasser Arafat, about Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajiv Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar, and from the corporate world, we know about Azim Premji, Ambani's, Tata's, Birla's, Nandan Nilekani, Sunil Mittal, Narayan Murthy, and Kiran Majumdar Shaw, to name a few. There are certain leaders who have carved a niche for themselves in the corporate world as well as in the political world. To name a few, the most prominent leader who comes to our mind whenever we talk of leadership is undoubtedly Mahatma Gandhi, of course, at the national level. Then we have another political leader like Barack Obama. Then we have a leader like Margaret Thatcher. In the corporate world, we have leaders like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Sunil Mittal, Indra Nui, and Azim Premji, and of course, Richard Branson, who have carved a niche for themselves by being leaders par excellence. Now, at this juncture, it would be pertinent to highlight the importance of good leadership for the organizations. The corporate world is replete with examples of exemplary leaders who have been instrumental in making their organizations what they are today. The following points highlight the importance of leadership. Well, leadership is a process of influencing the activities of an individual or a group towards the achievement of the predetermined goals. An effective leader motivates the subordinates for higher level of performance under all circumstances. Leadership promotes team spirit and teamwork, which is quite essential for the success of any organization. Leadership is an aid to authority. Leadership helps in the effective use of formal authority. Of course, leadership also creates confidence in the subordinates by giving them proper guidance and advice. Most of us, or in fact, all of us, must have seen the movie Chuck the India. There are some important lessons which can be drawn on leadership from the movie, where the leader of the pack, or the captain, or the coach of the Indian women hockey team, Kabir Khan, is proved to be a leader with exemplary vision and a clear cut strategy which enables the team to win the World Cup. He is a firm believer in saying that we should try to make a difference. And then he believes in doing what nobody else can do. And he is able to communicate that vision of his to the pack of 16 girls. Now, it's important for a leader to guide the subordinates. The importance of leadership, as exhibited by Coach Kabir Khan, can be understood by the very fact that he communicated a clear goal to them, who made them realize their own potential by having the right attitude and a positive body language which can make a huge difference, who motivated the team by showing the power of expectations. He showed confidence in the team's abilities and, of course, their success. By strategizing every move and knowing what he wants to achieve through his teams. By harnessing the right talent for the right job at the right time. And he was able to make winning team. The leader, or the coach Kabir Khan, was able to communicate a clear goal to the team, and the goal was to win the World Cup in women hockey, which they had not done earlier. He was a leader who made them realize their own potential. He told them time and again that जो नहीं हो सकता है वही तो करना है. He kept on repeating this to himself and to his girls and made them realize their own potential and worked hard to strive to achieve that goal. He exhibited a right attitude and a positive body language which made a huge difference to the girls. Obviously, when you show a level of expectations or positive expectations to somebody, the level of motivation increases, and that is the job of a leader. He was always there to motivate them by showing the power of expectations. He exhibited a lot of confidence in the abilities of his team members, which eventually led to their success. He kept on saying that winners don't quit and quitters don't win. So it's very important that the leader keeps on motivating the team and keeps the morale of the team all times high, irrespective of whether the situation is tough or it's cool. A leader is the one who strategizes every move and knows what he wants to achieve through his teams. And above all, he is able to communicate that strategy to each and every team member who is then committed to achieve that goal through that strategy. A leader, as has already been discussed in level 5 leadership, he is able to harness the right talent for the right job at the right time. This is the most important aspect of being a leader, where he is able to identify the talent and motivate him to do the right things at the right time, at the right place. Winning teams cannot be built unless you have winning leaders. Not only leaders, but the ones who are exceeders. So if we see TEAMS, it stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. So this is an acronym for teams. Just like the movie Chuck the India, where the leader believes that success does not mean the absence of failure, it's about winning the war and not every battle. So, this is what the leaders are supposed to be doing when the organizations are in lurch or when they need exemplary leadership. Let me tell you, my dear students, about leadership in the new millennium. The leadership in the new millennium calls for the following characteristics to lead the organizations towards higher objectives and transcend them from good to great. Now, this would be possible only when the top management exhibits its genuine concern for the development of its people who are at the core of the very existence of the organization. There has been evolution from leadership to the concept called exceedership. Stephen Burr, who is the HR head of GSK, says that the fast growing international environment is giving way to a new concept called exceedership, which entails embedding the desire to surpass the targets into the business mindset and performance. It's all about developing a performance driven culture with a can do attitude where there is trust, focus, innovation, and integrity, and where people are positive and optimistic and are empowered to make decisions. So now the organizations are not looking for managers, they're not looking even for leaders. They are looking for exceeders. That is, the people who, apart from being managing and directing the teams, are able to take that extra step and become exceeders when it comes to contributing towards the organizational goals. The current and the future paradigm for top leadership has also assumed newer dimensions. It calls for being a leader in whatever sphere you are, being a coach and a facilitator. It calls for empowering people around you. It calls for distributing leadership. And last but not the least, it calls for aligning with vision and strategy. So, this is what the new paradigm for leadership is all about. In addition, the point which we have already discussed is with regard to exceedership. Now, exceedership means the drive to go well beyond the agreed targets. It calls for doing the bold, doing the unexpected, being creative. When you have no intolerance for the work which is not above average, encouraging radical, risk taking ventures, and developing a resilient, unrelenting, positive attitude. So, this is what exceedership is all about. Now let us discuss the different leadership styles. The leadership styles are the benevolistic or the paternalistic style, critical or task-centered, developmental or self-dispensing. Let us discuss them one by one. The benevolent or the paternalistic leader. When we talk of the benevolistic or the paternalistic leader, Azim Premji comes to our mind instantly. Who's the one who is believed to be acting as a paternalistic leader in his organization, where he takes care and nurtures all the employees and takes care of all their needs. To be more specific, a benevolent head is a father figure who nurtures and takes care of all the needs of its people. He believes in understanding them and treating them with affection, giving them instructions from time to time to meet the goals. He values relationships even at the cost of the task, which might hamper the effectiveness of the organizations at times. On the other hand, a critical head is someone who believes that people are by nature lazy and shirk work unless they are followed and supervised closely. He believes in watching them at every step, checking them, and even at times reprimanding them and showing his dissatisfaction towards their work. Developmental head is the one who believes in the competence of his people and thereby educates them and makes them independent, believing that his success lies in making himself dispensable in their lives. When a leader is using a developmental style, he dawns upon himself the role of a supportive and a directive leader, depending upon the competence and the commitment of his people towards the organization. Diana Robinson, who is the Vice President Regional Operations Teach for America project, says that when things went wrong, I used to blame people. Doing it myself was easier. I now have a vision for my staff and am committed to their development. As a result, we have had our most successful year ever. So you can see that this is what a developmental leader is all about. Leadership behaviors. Let us try to understand what type of leadership behaviors can be exhibited depending upon the competence and the commitment of the employees. The variation can be from a highly supportive leadership to a highly directive leadership. When the leader is high on a supportive behavior, he is supporting the people who are showing high competence, interspersed with variable levels of commitment, and coaching people who have some level of competence and commitment. Directive leadership behavior. On the other hand, when the leader is exhibiting directive behavior, he is empowering his people who are exhibiting high levels of competence and commitment and directing the people who are showing low level of competence but have high level of commitment for the organization. Let us now talk of level 5 leadership. In level 5 leadership, there are 5 levels, starting with level 1, which has highly capable individuals who makes productive contributions through talent, knowledge, skills, and good work habits. When a person is a good contributing team member, he moves on to level 2, where he contributes to the achievement of group objectives, works effectively with others in a group setting. When he exhibits being a competent manager, he moves on to the 3rd level, where he organizes people and resources towards the effective and efficient pursuit of predetermined objectives. At the level 4, he becomes an effective leader, where he is able to catalyze commitment to and vigorous pursuit of clear and compelling vision, stimulates the group to highest levels of performance standards. Now, A person reaches an executive or the level 5, which is called level 5 leadership, where he builds enduring greatness through a paradoxical combination of personal humility and professional will. Some of the legendary leaders par excellence or leaders who have exhibited level 5 leadership are Barack Obama, Narayan Murthy, Ratan Tata, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg. Let's talk about the drivers of level 5 leadership. These are the first who, the Stockdale paradox, the build up breakthrough flywheel, the hedgehog concept, a culture of discipline, and technology accelerators. My dear students, we have discussed about level 5 leadership so far. Now we'll be talking about as to what makes a person level 5. There are certain drivers of level 5 leadership which are very important to understand. Let's talk about these drivers of level 5 leadership one by one. Before proceeding, let me tell you that there are 6 drivers of level 5 leadership. Let's start with the first one. The first driver of level 5 leadership is the concept which is called the first who. Now you must be wondering, what is this first who? Well, it is the ability to identify and put the right man at the right place. Good to great leaders start with people first and then deal with vision and strategies second. They start by getting the right people on the bus, move the wrong people off the bus, usher the right people to the right seats, and determine where to drive it. The second driver of level 5 leadership is called the Stockdale paradox. Now, let us understand what is this Stockdale paradox. Well, my dear students, it is the ability to sustain through the toughest times by holding on to your beliefs. This concept has been named after Admiral James Stockdale, who is the winner of the Medal of Honor, who survived for 7 years in a Vietnamese Congress prisoners of war camp by hanging on to 2 contradictory beliefs. One, his life could not be worse at the moment. And 2, his life would someday be better than ever. Believe me, my dear students, good to great leaders confront the most brutal facts of the current reality, yet simultaneously they maintain absolute faith that they will prevail in the end. They hold both disciplines, faith and facts, at the same time, all the time, and that is what makes them level 5 leaders. Let's come to the third driver of level 5 leadership, which is called build up breakthrough flywheel. Now, this is the ability to take up one thing at a time with full passion and rigor. The good to great transformations do not happen overnight or in one big leap, rather. It starts one movement at a time, gradually building up momentum till there is a breakthrough. The mediocre organizations never sustain the breakthrough momentum, but instead lurch back and forth with radical change programs, reactionary moves, and restructuring. Let's move on to the next concept, which is called the hedgehog concept. I'm sure you must have heard about what is a hedgehog. Well, it is the ability to find out what is the best for its organization and its people. It's well known that a hedgehog knows only one big thing very well. The hedgehog is simple and he wins. He knows what best ignites the passion of its people and he continuously works towards it. It knows the competitive and core strengths of its organization and helps it in achieving its goals through people, and it knows very well what is the best for the organization in both monetary and non-monetary terms. Then, another important driver of level 5 leadership is that they are technology accelerators. Now, this is the ability to take the right decisions with regard to the adoption of new technology. The good to great organizations have a paradoxical relationship with technology. On the one hand, they avoid jumping on new technology bandwagon. On the other hand, they pioneer the application of carefully selected technologies, making bold, far-sighted investments directly linked to their hedgehog concept. Last but not the least, level 5 leaders are very particular when it comes to discipline. They ensure that their organizational culture is a truly disciplined culture. They want to inculcate a culture of discipline in the organization. It can be understood in terms of an ability to create and sustain a culture of utmost discipline in the organization. Let me remind you, my dear students, that good to great organizations have 3 forms of disciplines. Combining a culture of discipline with an ethic of entrepreneurship results in great performance. 1, they have disciplined people. They don't need hierarchy. They have disciplined thought. They don't need bureaucracy. And of course, all this is guided by disciplined action, meaning thereby that you don't need to put on excessive controls. So, a culture of discipline is very important when it comes to as a major driver of level 5 leadership. Level 5 leadership and their role in succession planning is very important. The role of transformational leaders and level 5 leaders in organizations is amply manifested in their earnest efforts to succession planning for the organizations, which is one of the highly significant endeavors by the top management. As we have already seen that Bill Gates chose Satya Nadella as his successor, who was a level 5 leader. Again, when it comes to succession planning, we have seen that level 5 leaders are very particular while choosing their successors. Like Ratan Tata chose Cyrus Mistry, Jack Welch chose Jim McNerney as his successor. All right, my dear students, shall we now recall what we have learnt in this module? To begin with, leadership has been understood as a phenomena which is responsible for transforming the good organizations into great organizations. 1. The most effective leaders have a clear sense of mission, vision, and direction for the business, and they have an uncanny ability to communicate it to their followers. They also have an incredible knack for motivating and inspiring people in the organization by being a role model themselves, by walking the talk, and have a tremendous measure of adaptability. As we have learnt in the lesson, the corporate world is replete with examples of leaders who have been instrumental in making their organizations what they are today. A concept of exceedership has been explained in detail, which entails embedding the desire to surpass the targets into the business mindset and performance. Exceedership in business is all about developing a performance driven culture with a can do attitude where there is trust, focus, innovation, and integrity, and where people are positive and optimistic, and they are empowered to make decisions. We have also discussed 4 leadership styles in the lessons. One is the benevolent leadership, where the head is like a father figure who nurtures and takes care of all the needs of its people. Then we have a critical or a task-centered head who is someone who believes that people are by nature lazy and shirk work. We can say that he believes in theory X and feels that unless people are followed and supervised closely, they will not work. On the other hand, we have a developmental head, who's the one who believes in the competence of his people, thereby reassuring our faith in theory Y. And he thereby believes in educating them and making them more independent. Then we have also discussed level 5 leadership style, where the leader blends genuine personal humanity with intense professional will. Thank you.